What's going on, people? So, got this live thing going, possibly. Again, click on the StreamYard thing, got to wait for the YouTube thing to actually start showing it, see how the video looks. It often starts off kind of like terrible, honestly, and then it settles out, right? It just takes forever for this. There we go. And yeah, just like I said, started off looking kind of bad, but it got decent fairly quick, so that's good, I guess. I don't know. But let's make sure everything's good over here before I go starting, and that's on live. So yeah, okay, cool. So fantastic. So yeah, kind of like the thing says something about themes or whatever in the title. So I think it's been a while. I want to say last May, possibly longer ago. I used to set aside like a whole month, and I do like each week I'd pick something. Like okay, well we're gonna do animal print all week, or we're gonna do green all week, or holiday shoes all week. Something like that, right? And I was going to do that this month, well, last month for May, and then I just didn't feel like it because it's logistically trying to like get the stuff together, think about like, well, what do I want to do? I even said something on the old internet just to see if anybody might have had any requests, maybe make it easier on me. And that was met with a deafening silence, which was kind of okay, honestly. So I ended up doing it anyway, but like not the full month. I just went with the 2 weeks because I recorded like a bunch of Yeezy videos, and so I had to wear some to like remind myself how they felt and all that stuff. And then I was like, well, since I've been going through all these, pulling out all these boxes, I'm gonna wear Yeezys all week, right? And then later on, something came up with like Vapormaxs, so I did a Vapormax week, right? So basically, there's the backstory. Now let's go getting on into this so we can all leave and do something else with our day, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. All right, so got a couple boxes over here. Do you see what that says? Doesn't matter if you do, doesn't matter if you don't. I'm going to talk about it anyway, right? So let's go ahead and open it up. These are in order, in case anybody's curious. So I started off, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, with this right here. This is the Zion Yeezy 350. Libertarian says, how goes it? It goes okay. Nothing amazing, nothing to brag about, but things are fine, right? I'm not one to complain, and today is no different. So, but then again, there we go. Once again, the quality is looking kind of bad, but that could be on my end here because sometimes when you click on like YouTube or whatever, it might default to some low quality thing, but once you click it over to HD, then it looks better. So there goes that. But yes, it's going all right, I guess. How about yourself? So I started the week off on the Monday with this here Yeezy 350, right? Sometimes I start the week on Sunday. I usually try not to because I like to stay indoors on Sundays. So that's why I started Monday. Either way, this is one of the better colors that they did. It's a little weird, honestly. Like it's got some weird sort of, it's like a brownish color in there. It doesn't seem like that, or it didn't seem like that from the pictures. And then you got a little bit of gray up here, and I don't know. It's an odd combination, but it just so happens to work, right? So I do like it a fair amount. And if you saw like that top 10 video I did, these almost made the cut. They made the cut originally, but then I went back and I was like, oh, I was getting things out and I saw something. I was like, why is I saw this? And I was like, okay, that's cool. But then I saw something else. And I was like, wait, this isn't in the lineup. So then I had to look at everything else, and I'm like, okay, something's got to go. And it was these. But I figured I'll let them have their time in the sun. I'll just like wear them last week, 2 weeks ago. So that's what happened. But I'm not going to take anything away from them, right? A lot of Yeezy 350s don't look that great. Let's be honest. But that one, it did all right for itself, right? Now they're not doing anything, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening with that world nowadays. I guess last week they sold off like some of the pairs, but we'll talk about that later. Moving along, rough start, but I'm trying to finish strong. That's what they say. Always finish strong, right? I mean, you can start strong too, but sometimes if you start too strong, then you finish like not so great. At least with like running, anyways, right? That's what I've learned. So you pace yourself, and then once you get to the end, you're like, okay, got a little left in the tank, so let me just kind of like step it up a notch, take it into overdrive or something like that. And then Mike Bisney says, what up, what up? Hello, hello. I say back to you. How's everything going with you? Are things going all right? How's your finish going? Is it strong? Is it like not so strong? Is it somewhere in the middle? Wait, what are we talking about? So this right here is the blue tint Yeezy 350, right? Now, I think these came out again like sometime last year, if I remember right. Because I remember seeing something about them on the internet, So sometimes I see things and it's like I don't know if it actually happens or if it doesn't because I don't follow stuff super closely if I don't need to. And in this case, I already had it because I've had these since what year did these come out? 2019, 2017 apparently. I don't know why I was thinking 2019. Yeah, definitely 2017 because I remember they were at the end of the year and I ended up with two pair and I sold one for and I used the money to buy a plane ticket or something. I don't know. Either way, this right here, it is the blue tint Yeezy 350, and it's a pretty good color. I do like it. I like the light blue that they have going on, and as I've said before, I'm really big on the Supply 350. Not sure why, but I just think that's so much cooler than the window thing that they often have on there. It says things are good in the middle. Okay, that's good. Because it's usually only a problem if things are bad, right? If you're in the middle, you're at least okay, and you got a little room to grow, right? You just got to maintain it. But hopefully, if anything, this week is at least as good or possibly better, right? That's what I shoot for. For me, this week should be okay, right? It might be a little busy on this side of things, like the YouTube side of things, right? Because I think my parents are coming around this weekend to do something, and so I made some last minute orders for some shoes so that I could give them some new shoes when they get up here. So hopefully that ships out on time and gets here on time. The rush is going to be me like doing the whole video portion. Well, not the whole video portion, but at least recording and taking the photos in time to give them these shoes, right? So it was something that I've known was going to happen. It's not like they just sprung this on me. It's just that, sometimes you just kind of don't do stuff when you should do it. And then when it's like down to the last minute, your mind is like super focused. And then that's when you like truly make it happen, right? So we'll see what happens. If you see me talking about well, I guess you won't see the video for a while, but if you see any Nova Blast 3 videos in a little while, that's what sparked that whole thing. Let's see. Always looking out for them. Yeah, I try to. I do what I can, keep them entertained. Took them to a magic show last time I was down there, so that was a good time. I bought them, some nice speaker systems for the home, so that's cool. Got the what is it, like a sound bar, like a Sonos sound bar, and some speakers in some of the other rooms so that you can watch TV and it'll be sounding like really good. Got the sub mini and all that stuff. But if you want to, you can actually like have the sound from the TV piped through the rest of the home, right? So then you can hear whatever is being watched everywhere, which is actually kind of cool because like if I'm watching something, it's not uncommon for me like at home to like kind of walk away and do something else. But this way, like I can have it playing, walk over here to the kitchen, and it's like, oh, I can still hear it just fine. I don't always need to see what's going on. Sometimes hearing is just enough. This is the Sand Taupe Yeezy 350, right? Not the best color in the world, but not the worst either, I guess. It's somewhere in the middle. It kind of looks a lot like the Earth 350, like because it's got like that darker brown in there. But then they threw this like orange stuff out over here on the side, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what that's all about. It's just I don't know. The colors match up fine. It's just an odd choice to make it. You know what I'm saying? But I guess if they did just this all around, it'd be a little too plain. It'd still be fine, I suppose, depending on like what you're doing or whatever. But it's good to have some kind of color in there that's not just the two-tone on this side. And then this whole infinity lace thing, I am not a huge fan of it, and it doesn't make any sense because it's not like I like being able to tie and retie and change how the laces are done. No, I just want the option to be able to do that. And by having this little thing on here, they kind of take that away. And so that is where it's not like okay. You know what I'm saying? Because life's about having options, or at least knowing what your options are. Maybe a little bit of A and a little bit of B, right? Because if everything's all just set for you, what's the fun in that, huh? Right? What is this, like communist China or something? So let's see what's in this second to last box. So, these right here, the zebras, right? Somebody was saying something in a video I did recently, and they're, like I thought you put the zebras in your top 10 because like you wear them a lot. And I'm like, what are you basing this on? Like I don't even know this guy. It's weird. It was very strange to me. But this, right? Now, this is a favorite of a lot of people, and I get it, right? I get the appeal of it. It just doesn't have that appeal to me. So these do not come out a lot. I mean, maybe if this was, when did I get these? Let's see, 2018. Maybe if this was 2018 and back when I had fewer shoes than I have now, maybe I wore them. Well, actually, I probably didn't wear them regularly then because, it's white. I'm not a big white shoe kind of guy. I know there's black in here too. I'm just saying. But yeah, so it's not a bad look. I'm definitely not going to look down on them. It's just that when I think of like my favorites, this one doesn't come to mind. But I get why other people would be into it. Can't argue that. But either way, I did pull these out last week for whatever reason, probably so I could talk about them like during this. Because I don't know, it's just they did come back out last week supposedly, but I didn't go for them because why bother? And this wasn't like the first release of those, because from what I understand, they did one initially, like in 20, say 17 or 18 or whatever, and then later that year or the next year they did a different release where like the bottom of the sole was a slightly different color than the original. I don't remember how that worked out. I just know that I ended up getting a pair in 2019 on the re-release from Foot Locker or Foot Action, maybe Champs, one of those in-store raffles. Because back before the Flex system, I was like winning things all the time. Like I don't know that I lost a raffle in the whole like 2016 to 2019. Well, when did Flex start? Yeah, through 2019. Every except for the, let's see, the court purple ones, right? The court purple ones in 2018. That's the one thing that I can remember that I didn't win that I actually tried for. But I think everything else, I feel like I got it, which is why I don't really complain a lot when things don't go my way because most of the time they do. But I also don't go for a lot of stuff, so there's that too. Either way, this right here is the Yeezy 350, right? Came out around holiday 2019, Christmas time, like right after or right before the Yeet Shields or Yes Shield, however that word is pronounced. Yeah, there's a lot of weirdly pronounced words coming around at that time. I don't even know if they were words. They might have just been letters he just strung together and figured like they'll pronounce it however they want to pronounce it. But either way, this right here, I do like these a lot. They're not a favorite over like the semi-frozen yellows, even though I do like green a lot. You still got to rank it, right? It's like having kids. I'm sure if you have more than two, or more than one, I should say, one of them is going to be the favorite. Some people say there isn't a favorite, and they are liars. Ask my mom. Either way, so here's the thing, right? I do like these a lot, like a whole lot, because of the green thing. Like they're vibrant, they're bright. They got a lot of stuff going on there. But for whatever reason, I just don't pull them out a whole lot. Probably because I don't pull any of my shoes out a whole lot because to keep the rotation going is not super easy. But either way, they do have a high ranking. They I think they were, I don't know if they made the top 10. I'm thinking probably not. But out of all the 350s I have, easily in the top half. Easily in the top half. There's a good chance they're in the top quarter, right? I'd say top 25% for sure. Definitely that, yeah. All right, so that is the 350. So now I'm going to switch gears somewhat, talk about some Vapormaxes, because if you know me, you know that I'm a huge fan of the Air Max and whatnot, right? There's a whole poster thing right there, right? This thing right here. So it's really largely the Air Maxes that got me into like buying shoes and stuff originally. And so eventually at some point they kind of shifted from doing like these Air Maxes on a yearly basis to doing these Vapor Maxes, right? So I also started buying Vapor Maxes. Though strangely, I didn't buy a Vapor Max 1, like the first version of them. And I don't know what the deal was. I remember seeing a blue pair that I liked a whole lot, and for some reason never got it. And so now it's like this weird hole in my collection where like I don't have a single Vapor Max 1. I have a lot of the other Vapor Max models, but not that one. Anyways, I started the week off with this right here. This is the Moon Particle Vapormax 2019, right? This is, in my opinion, one of the worst Vapormax models, right? It's, hear me out on this, right? It's still got some comfort and stuff going for it, you know, whatever you were used to from the older Vapormax style, it's got that going for it, sure. But this upper, you can kind of see it's got like this whole plasticky sort of mesh thing going on, right? I wore these on the Sunday because let's see, I was going out to see You Hurt My Feelings. It's that movie with Elaine from Seinfeld, you know. So I was going out to see that, and it was kind of rainy. And this is good for not letting your feet get too wet, right? Very water resistant. So I do like that piece of it. But the upper, it's just super loose, you know. It just compared to like some of the other prime knit or fly knit things that I've been wearing a lot of at the times, this just wasn't that good. I do really like the colors of this though. It kind of reminded me of the Bordeaux sevens, you know. So I picked up these at some point. Picked up a pair for my mom as well, and she still wears hers a lot. I just saw her wearing them like last month sometime whenever I was down in South Carolina. But yeah, so it's a good look. It's just the execution of it, you know, when you're actually wearing it in a real world test or whatever, they fall short. They truly do. But it is what it is. Not everything can be winners. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I kicked the week off with, and that was a Sunday thing. So there's that for you. Moving along. Oh yeah, these I'm also not a huge fan of. Right? Move that over there so it doesn't fall. So the comfort of them is largely good, right? But I did a performance review on these at some point. I think it was this versus the, I guess it would have been the Flynet 3 because that was the release before this, and you'll see one of those coming up here shortly. But the thing is, it had like this little, no, see, back here you got the like pull thing because you don't have laces, right? So you have this pull thing. You pull that, it tightens the shoe, right? And then you pull this, and it releases the tension, right? So that's how you get it on, get it off, whatever. And it's kind of a cool idea. It's just again, in execution, it's like not so great because when you're running in these like this on your foot, super uncomfortable. These lines right here, I don't know why they're so rigid. Also, super uncomfortable. The one improvement that they did though, and I can't fault them for it at all because it worked out very nicely, is the midsole here. The midsole, changing it from the way they did these, jumping a little ahead here, but you can kind of see there's a big difference there. If you want to see a closer difference, check out the video I did on the Vapormax 2023 or this one, right? You can also go rewatch that one or watch it for the first time, whatever makes sense. But yeah, so the part down here, solid, no complaints. This piece up here, uh, it wasn't so bad at the time, but then once the new version came out, the 2021, which you're going to see next, yeah, I was like, okay, this was not okay. The look was also not that great. You know, I like this blue, some kind of glacier blue or whatever, but the overall just wasn't that great. You know, it is what it is. Let's set this box down here. So if that was a 20, that was the Vapormax 2020, right? So this next one is going to be a 2021. So as you see, things have shifted just a little bit. The upper style is more like the Flyknit 3, right? Because it kind of had like lines like that going. This piece was still the same, except for they got rid of like the little pull things, right? And replaced it with laces. And these laces are pretty nice, I will say that. So you can kind of tell, or you can't because the camera isn't that great, but the laces are like rounded down here, but then they're flat at the top, right? See that? They're like flat at the top. So that means I can like tuck them in when I'm wearing them and it doesn't feel all intrusive. So I do like that. But otherwise, this made a lot of improvements. This piece was even better, like wasn't so rigid on these little strips here. So that was enough of an improvement for me because this was really my only complaint about the 2021. And since they addressed all that, I was like, all right, fantastic. You guys have done all right in my book. Let's go move on, right? And I bought the green pair and I bought this pair. So I think I only have the two. No, that's not true. I have three because I bought a Volt color this year for Air Max month, so I can do Air Max month reviews. Let's move along. Almost done here. I try not to make these too long because there are some people that actually like watch this stuff later on, which is like weird to me, honestly. And I like it to like move along at the pace of a normal video. So that way I just kind of keep talking. It may make some people like not want to say anything because they don't want to interrupt, and I get that. But hey, it is what it is. Interrupt if you want to. This right here is the Vapormax 2023 in Baltic Blue. These came in last Sunday. I did a real quick turnaround on getting this video out. I basically, the next day before work, I recorded it, shot all the pictures, and then that night I did all the editing, top to bottom, the publishing, all the back end stuff, and got it out at a decent time that night so that I could wear them this week, right? I did that because I really wanted to talk about these. It's not a lot of stuff that comes along in the shoe world that I care about. So when something does, I give it a little extra attention, which was good because the video has been doing okay for itself. It's a longer one. It is because I did the full comparison against the 2021s, you know. But the next pair that I buy of these will be probably like half the time because that one's like 20 minutes. But either way, a lot of stuff was changed here from this version to the previous one. So like you see, like the back is different. The laces, they kind of took a step backwards there. The look, I do like the look a little bit more. You know, you got the fly wire in there, so that's always nice. It's a cool color, right? So with the different stitching patterns, I think that you'll be able to get some pretty nice looking colorways if they choose to. As I showed in the video and stuff, it is kind of interesting how you can shine a light through the bottom of the shoe. Actually, let's take this thing out. You can see the rest of it because it is throughout the whole bottom, right? So all the way from the front of the foot all the way down to the back, right? You got like the light shining through, and you can kind of see it through there too. It's just an interesting little look, right? Not super like easy to show off or whatever. You kind of have to go out your way for it, but it is nice. Lightweight, breathable, all that good stuff, right? You can tell like even all through here, you got a lot of breathability. Let's hit these comments real quick. Let's see. No Yeezys, but did recently purchase the black cement 3s, white cement 4s, last shots, cherry 13s, and Concord 11 lows, all DS, A6 uplifting pack, and finally the questions OG. So yes, you did. I saw the interruption like right as I said that, which was weird because there's a delay, like 15 seconds or whatever, between like me saying stuff and it like coming out on the TV or whatever, or on YouTube, I should say. So it was like the perfect timing there for your interruption. But actually, let me click this little thing because then I can show it on the screen. So I'm going to address that because why not? So we'll start at the beginning. No Yeezys. I get it, right? They're not for everybody. I'm not going to pretend that they are, and I'm not going to pretend that they should be, right? Because nothing is. Let's just be honest about it. That's why stuff comes in different flavors. That's why there are different brands making different models. So no problem there. And a lot of the Yeezys are overpriced to start with, and especially in the aftermarket. The black cement 3s, I got a pair of those for my dad and for myself back when they came out in it might have been 2016, possibly 2017. It's a little bit blurry at this point, but that was his Father's Day gift that year, whatever year that was. And he wears those a lot because I saw them not the most recent time I was down there, but like the time before that. They've got some miles on them. You know, I mean, they still look decent, but like you can tell, like he is no stranger to wearing those things, which is good because I like that he beats a lot of the stuff I buy him into the ground, right? Like, and that's probably how it should be, honestly. So I'm very thankful that he does that because otherwise it'd feel like a waste of money to some extent. The white cement 4s. I remember those coming around shortly after I initially got started into buying more than Air Maxes, right? And at that time, I was like, $200 for a pair of shoes. That's crazy, right? It might have been $225, whatever it was crazy to me, right? So actually, I might be thinking the true blue 3s, but maybe they were around the same time. Either way, I saw them and I was like, those are kind of cool, sure, yeah. But that price is not. I see things a little differently now, and it's not for the best. I'll say that. But I'm a little more okay nowadays with spending in those $200 ranges. The last shots, the 14s, right? I considered buying those at some point, right? Now, if you know me, I don't go over 12 when it comes to Jordans, right? Because The 12 was the first one that I ever saw that caught my attention back in ninth grade. A good friend Ricky Osborne had a pair, right? And I was like, man, those are some cool shoes, right? I didn't really talk to him much at the time because like we had kind of drifted apart because like I think we ended up in different schools for a while or something like that. So then when I met up with him years later, like it was like 4 years after I'd seen this dude or something. But either way, I saw him walking around in them. But whatever that is, that's pretty cool. Didn't care to ask, just knew that it was a cool looking shoe. And so years later, that's why like when I started buying those, like I went all in on the 12s, and which is why I have a decent amount now. But I saw those last shots when I was at the Foot Locker one day, and they're like, "Hey man, like, are you gonna pick these up?" Because I was in there a lot, like a lot, a lot. So like, hey man, we got these in. You want to check them out? You know, I don't know if you're gonna pick these up, but I can give you a little early peek at them and stuff. And they looked pretty nice. You know, they did. And I don't remember why I didn't, because at the time I was like quick to pull that trigger. But nowadays, I'm fine with it. I look back at it and like, yeah, it's a good thing because I wouldn't have worn them a lot. Because again, the 12, that's enough for me. And had I bought those, I probably would have ended up with more things. So it's good that I kept that cap on things. And the Concord 11 lows, I don't have those. I have standard Concord 11s, right? Pretty sure they're not low. Yeah, they're definitely not low. They are not low at all. So I don't know what the lows look like, and I say that because like I've never seen Concord 11 lows. I've seen Concord 11s many a time, right? Anybody who's watched a sneaker battle has seen a Concord 11, but I don't know if I've ever seen a low one. And a lot of people don't pull out lows because a lot of people don't like them, so then people are like not so quick to show them off. I like the lows. I think they're pretty nice, but I also like low top shoes, right? So maybe it's just me. But I could see those being worth picking up. This whole all DS thing, that had to have been pricey, right? Pricey. But if you're not buying a whole lot of shoes, then it makes sense. Because, like, for me, not anymore because I just don't, right? But the last couple years, if you saw my quarterly pickup videos where I was having like 20, 25 pairs of shoes like every 3 months, yeah, I was buying a lot of stuff, right? And I could have bought fewer things and just went all out and got like expensive things, you know, bought like 4 pairs of like these super limited whatevers. I just didn't because I can't bring myself to spend more than sticker price on a pair of shoes. Action figures is different, but on a pair of shoes, I just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you got a good deal because yeah, all of those that you named off are ones that people are into. So I can see them being like pricey. Oh, and you say there a bit pricey, especially depending on like what your size is. You know what I'm saying? Because like the bigger sizes are like less common, so those are expensive. And then I don't know, I feel like my size is often like kind of pricey. It's more common, like the 9.5s, but that doesn't make them cheaper really. And they have those off-white vibes. Yeah, you know, I kind of see what you're saying with like some of this like unfinished sort of look and all that stuff. Oh, one other thing I was gonna say, like, because I didn't mention it in the videos or anything, but on the inside, you can't really see that, can you? Just take my word for it. On the inside, the pattern that they did on the 23s is actually pretty similar to the pattern that they have on the twos, right? I'm trying to get this at a decent angle. Yeah, see how it's got like those little bead looking things as far as like the design goes? Yeah, that's what they went with for the 23 as well. So it's kind of like they went back, and of course you can't see it because there's all that light shining through. But like I said, just take my word for it. I know what I'm talking about. Either way, so that is the end of this stack. I'm going to move some things back around so I can get moving on now that I've taken a slight detour. I will say, speaking on off-white shoes, I do not like off-white shoes. Like overall, speaking overall, yes, mostly everything that I dislike has at least one or two that's okay along the way. But I've seen a lot of off-white shoes, and I've liked 2 of them, maybe 3. There's a pair of 90s that was like some kind of tannish color. Those are pretty nice. There's a pair of 97s that was, I think, silver. Those are pretty nice. That could be it. That could be it. I'm leaning towards that being it, honestly. I truly am. But anyway, so that was parts of, well, the first half or so of the Vapormax thing. So now we are on to Thursday, right? Because yeah, it was like the 19s, then there was the 21 or the 20s, then the 21s, then the 23s. So now on Thursday, I went back in time and brought out, let me get this thing off the screen here. So I went back in time, brought out the Spider-Man Vapormax 2s because I was seeing Spider-Man that day, and it just made sense, right? And I had just done a bunch of Vapormax 2 references and stuff, so I said, you know what, let me go ahead and pull one of these out. Now this right here, right? I'm pretty sure I actually did I did a review on these. It's probably bad, right? Honestly, it's probably just awful because that first year of trying to just start doing this stuff was, yeah, people were watching, but I can't imagine they were satisfied. But either way, this right here is the Vapormax 2. And in my opinion, right, this might be the best Vapormax for color choices. I can't speak on the Vapormax 1 because I don't have any, right? But the Vapormax 2 had some of my favorite colorways, right? And even still looking back at them, I see things come out on newer ones, and I'm just like, they just can't touch a lot of the Vapormax 2s that I saw. You know what I'm saying? So Nike had some good stuff going with these this year. Then the Vapormax 3 happened. You'll see that in a second. And like those colors were not bad, but the shoe was a little better itself as far as how it felt in some ways. But I don't know, it was like a couple steps forward, a couple steps backwards, but it's all like just personal feelings, you know? But either way, so this right here, I do really like these a lot. You can kind of tell like they got a lot of the openings down in there for breathability because you can see the little packaging, you know, like the little stuff that is usually in the bottom of there. So that's pretty nice, very stretchy and all that, right? Got the fly wire, like I was saying, on the 2023s. So yeah, this was a very similar style to what they brought back for the 2023, right? Which is kind of why I like it as much, I guess. Now, I'm just hoping that they finish the job or finish the story, as old Cody Rhodes would say, and actually put out some decent colors for those 2023s because they've got a good design. So there's definitely like a window to do that, or the opportunity to do that, I should say. But will they do it is definitely the question, right? And will they? Honestly, I'm thinking no, right? I'm not trying to be pessimistic, right? But I am a realist. And given their track record over the last few years, they put out some decent colors on most things. Like one or two will pop up, that's okay. But overall, again, it's just like when I look at the Vapormax, what's the last year one? The 2021. I mean, it's not amazing. Even like that black and gold one I just showed off, like black and university gold. That's one of my favorite color combinations, right? That's not one of my favorite shoes in that color combination. Like, you know, it's nice and comfortable, sure, but purely going off the looks, I wouldn't rank it higher than a lot of things. So this right here is the Vapormax Flyknit 3 in digital pink, right? Now this was a women's release. You can probably look at it and tell like this might be a woman's shoe. It is. It very much is. That's why it says size 11 on the side. You know, you got to do that conversion thing or whatever. But the thing is, like I was saying about the 2023, or about the, which one was it? The Vapormax 2021, excuse me. That had like this sort of design to it, you know, like whereas like this lines were kind of moving upwards. So they had a similar design there, which is cool. But when I look at these, the Vapormax Flyknit 3, that's in a way like that's when like the coloring really just started going downhill because I still like my multicolored ones. Those are really cool. I think I have a pair of green ones and some kind of bolt green or something over there. You know, not bad either, but I'm also like super biased towards certain colors. So they may not really look that great. Maybe I just like them because I just like that color. But either way, I saw these and I was like, okay, now that one's pretty cool, right? It's definitely like not for everybody, but I'll pick up a pair. And unfortunately, I did have to pay full price because I wanted to get them before my size sold out. Because when you're buying like women's shoes, you know, the bigger sizes don't seem to be as like plentiful, like bigger by women's standards. So I had to jump on them, and I feel like this was like a Dick's Sporting Goods purchase or something. No, Hibbett, right? Every so often I remember things specifically, but I bought these from Hibbett, got them, and I was like, yeah, these are really cool. I don't wear them a whole lot, but when I do, I get a very vivid reminder as to just how pink these are because that is a thing that I tend to forget. But yeah, very nice though. I mean, they're comfortable like you would expect from any Vapormax and all that stuff, sure, but uh, they just the designs they were doing, and apparently, like if you had asked me, I would not have remembered it, but this next purchase came from StockX. Wouldn't you know? Like, which is not a place where I do a lot of business. Like, I bought 3 things from them and 4, and half of them I forgot about because they were somewhat accidents. You know, it's an Air Max. I put in like a little bit on there for like $100 and something dollars. You know, under retail for sure. And then it's like, oh, so and so accepted your bid. I remember being at a Kamasi, Washington show once, right? And I'm sitting there and I was like, okay, like, this order went through, that order went through, got tracking numbers for this. I was like, okay, I'm not buying anything for a while because I'm good. I'm done for at least like a, a week or two because at the time I was buying like crazy. So I'm at the show and I get this thing like this little email like your order has gone through, like so and so accepted your bid, and I'm like, what? And it was the green Curry Air Max ones. Remember the Curry pack from the Air Max ones in 2019? Yeah, maybe 2018 because I think it was 2018. Yeah, so it was one of those things where I put these bids in and then I would forget. But this one would likely have been bought on purpose because, as you see up there, right here, big fan of the Vapormax 360, right? Because again, the Vapormax or the Air Max 360, the picture on the left side or the right side, my right side, is the shoe that got me into shoes in general, or buying them, I should say. And then when they brought those back with a Vapormax retweaking or whatever, then I was like, oh, well, that's cool. They're bringing back something I like and just kind of making it modernized. And so I bought the red and white pair, right? And then I bought this one as well because I did have this color in the Vapormax, excuse me, in the Air Max 360. So I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and get one of those. And now I hadn't worn a pair of these Air Max 360s in years because they came out in 2005 or 6. And at the time it was 2020, yeah. So when I got these, you know, and I'm like wearing them, like, oh, these do not feel like I've expected Air Maxes to feel because it's all this weird synthetic leather type of nonsense going on. So it's kind of like rigid in some ways, you know. Whereas since I've been wearing a bunch of stuff like this at the time, this was it was jarring. Let's just call it that, right? They look cool. They look very cool. And I wore these Saturday. They're super comfortable, right? Because I went out to a wrestling show and all that stuff. But man, like it's one of those things where you have these memories of something being amazing, and then you wear it years later, and you're like, oh, I wonder if this was actually as amazing as I really remember it, right? And it's cool. Like they also have the 2020 on the side of here. You can't really see that, but the other ones also had that. The 2005, 2006 ones, they said whatever year on the side. But either way, it's the same thing overall as like the original 360, just with a different bottom and stuff. So very cool. It's nice to have them make something that I actually have a personal interest in because I usually don't, right? Because I haven't been some like long time shoe guy from like when I was younger. I didn't grow up wearing like Hirachis or watching Michael Jordan, right? So when I see these original Hirachi colors, I'm just like, eh, if I like the color, cool, that's fine. But I don't like get all excited about it, which is good because they've been bringing back a lot of stuff, and I buy into the nostalgia often, right? Especially in the action figure world. So if I was to have that in the same nostalgia in this world, could be a problem. So I'm glad that I don't because it's a lot easier on the financials, right? So there's that one thing that I am going to cover real quick because I just remembered, and I was going to put it into something else, but a few weeks ago, I said on Instagram, hey, let me know if you have any questions or topics you want me to bring up on my next live or whatever. And Sander Ham said, "What do I think about Yeezy? And he's going to continue making shoes. Like, how would I respond to that, or how would I act with it? Something along those lines, right? Can't remember exactly because again, I didn't think about it until like right now. I'm gonna tell you. So, if the Yeezy, or do I think he'll keep making shoes? That's what it was. Do I think he'll keep making shoes? Yeah, I honestly do. Because the thing is, like, if you are an artist, a creator of any kind, right, you're going to find that outlet somewhere, right? So I'm sure he's going to keep making all kinds of stuff, right? Music, clothes, shoes, all the stuff, right? I assume it's just going to keep happening in some way or another, right? If it dwindles down and it's kind of like the dizygotics where it's like not widely produced, or if it gets with like a different brand and he goes like, okay, hey, Asics, let's get together and make some shoes, right? You know, I feel like in one way or another, he's not done, because why would he be, right? He's still got his ideas, I'm assuming, and he's got the resources to like get those ideas out to the public, and it's a good way to make some money, right? People like making money. I do, right? So I get it. How would I feel about it? Like, as far as like, am I going to run out and buy all this stuff? No, probably not, right? I'm not saying I'll ignore it, because I won't, but because I don't know what it'll look like, right? But the thing is, with this whole 350 thing, right? I have 47, possibly 51. We'll call it 51. 51 pairs of Yeezys, right? 350s, 350s. I start with the 48, right? No, it was 46. Then I got one last week, 47. And then there are a couple that I doubled up on, like the semi-frozen yellows and something else. So it's like 51, right? Maybe 52. And so I'm good, right? They're comfortable. I've done that. I've got enough of them. I don't really care anymore. I was just buying them because they kept making them, right? And so now that they're done, if he goes and makes something else, if it looks not hideous, I might give it a shot, because say what you want about the visual, a lot of the stuff is made for comfort. So I'll probably get into it in a way if they look okay. But I will do it with minimal effort, unlike how I've been doing it the last however many years. Because at this point, I'm willing to just close that chapter and just let it go, unless it just amazes me. And will it amaze me? Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely, because none of it has, right? 350s are one of my favorite shoes, and most of those don't even really wow me, right? To be completely honest. So yeah, so for him, I don't know if he's going to watch this or whatever, but there's your answer. I do believe he'll keep making shoes. I'll buy a pair if they look all right, and I don't have to do too much work to get them or spend too much. So there's the short answer. Probably should have led with that. Either way, that's going to be it. If anybody has like questions or whatever else they want to throw out here real quick, they can do that. I'm just kind of giving you this little heads up, because I'm going to start wrapping this thing up, and I got to let that get out there with enough lead time so that people can hear it, for one. And then if you're on a phone or something, start typing out whatever you need to say. But in the meantime, I'm going to start closing this out and just keeping an eye on that. Good evening to you too. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I have some actual content that might be coming soon. Actually, no, I take that back, because I'm still doing my reviews in chronological order. And the next videos that go out will be New Balance videos, right? A pair of New Balance 920s. Unfortunately, I have other things that I have to record before that. So I'm going to be doing a lot of work behind the scenes, but probably won't be getting a lot of stuff out for a bit, excluding wrestling things or like t-shirt pickups and stuff that most people don't watch. Is there another hobby you indulge in that you don't film? No. Well, mostly no, right? So I spend a lot of time walking trails, right? When the weather's decent. So that's why you see me buying lots of trail shoes, and I'm often buying these like workout shirts and stuff like that, right? Because it's good stuff to have on the trails, because like, they're lightweight shirts and stuff, nice pants. good shoes made for that kind of environment. So I don't film me being out there, but I do record me buying the stuff. And that kind of goes hand in hand with like the gym, right? I don't film me being at the gym, but I if there was a way to sum up my collection, the description would be gym shoes, right? Because that's where they go. If I can wear them to the gym and do gym things, they're good for me, right? If I can't, I do buy some things that are just for show. I was just talking about some Jordan 4s earlier today, right? Not your Jordan 4s, but some that I bought. So those are the things that I don't really film. I mean, but otherwise, like I go to movies and I do my little short clips of that, right? So that's mildly filmed. But yeah, I don't think I have any actual interest other than that because it's for those who are curious, music is at the top. That's one that I don't film because like I mean, does anybody want to see some videos from like concerts or whatever? Seriously, because like I do have a lot of that from like when I go to the concerts. I just don't upload it because I feel like nobody would care. So maybe I'll do that later. Put up some concert videos and see if people are interested. Concerts, music, I do a little bit of playing the bass every so often. It's been a little while, right? So that's my number one interest. Number two is the wrestling. Straight out, easy number two, right? I mean, that's why there's all kinds of wrestling stuff all around. And that gets very much noted in the videos and such. Number three, I mean, the action figures kind of ties in with number two, but it's a wider thing. Because I got the Marvel things over there. I buy a lot of that stuff. So that's number three. And then I guess number four, as far as things that I actually do, would kind of be the shoe thing. But realistically, I do buy a lot of, not buy a lot, I do spend a lot of time like looking into like tech things because like that's what pays the bills for me. And it's just like an interest I've had since 96. So that is an active interest for me, but doesn't get shown other than just by giving me money so that I can buy stuff. So it's a weird answer. I know, a little longer, but it is what it is. That would be cool content. The music. Okay, yeah. Because I go to like my share of things. I saw Paramore. What was that? Friday. Blink 182 was last Tuesday. The what did I see before that? Somebody was here. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness. The Interrupters were around recently. Frank Turner. Saw that. Silver Sun Pickups was not too long ago. Rise Against, Anti Flag, right? Less Than Jake? No, that was what longer ago. But yeah, I see a lot of music stuff because I live in a good area for that to happen, right? Lots of people tour through like Virginia Beach, Washington D.C. So I don't miss a lot of things, or Richmond. Most people doing a large tour hit one of those three areas, which is super nice. So because I'm able to go and relive my childhood for a moment, or newer things that I've recently heard about. And you find out about new stuff that way too, right? So it's very cool. It's where I spend a lot of my nights, and that's why the people recognize me when I get there sometimes. Oh, hey, how you doing? Welcome back. So yeah, I'll have to put some of that stuff up. I actually was just looking at some Chili Peppers things not too long ago because I saw them in September. So I'll put some of those up. They're short things, right? But because I was putting them on Instagram. So when you see my 60-second clips or whatever, honestly, those are built for Instagram. It's just that they haven't fallen into short territory when I put them over here. I would rather them not because I feel like they get lumped in with a bunch of other crap and overlooked because that's how shorts work, honestly. But it is what it is. I just accept it. Do I collect records? I do not. I have three. I have Faces by Earth, Wind, and Fire. I have Because I Got High by Afro Man, and I have a Rick and Morty San Diego Comic Con exclusive that I picked up some years ago. The reason I don't collect records is because I don't have a record player. The reason I don't have a record player is because I was looking into one that I'd be able to use with my Sonos setup, and it's not impossible, right? They make enough things to do that. But I was like, logistically, I don't know if it's worth it because I would likely end up losing the reason people buy records, which is for the sound quality, because it would be all split up and streamed and blah blah blah. So mildly degraded, right? Because like I'm so used to being able to turn music on and listen to it throughout every room in this apartment without having to like turn it way up in one room. I just have all the speakers, one, two, three, four, five. Wait, one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, I have them all playing at a decent volume, so as I move through, it's fine. So if I didn't have that, and I had like a dedicated listening room or something, which I kind of used to do to an extent, a record player would make sense. But because I don't live that way, it doesn't right now. It would just be cool to have because I do see records at different shows that I go to, or when record store day is coming around, like bands will like re-release things like, hey, we're putting out like wolves in sheep's clothing or whatever, like no effects or something, they'll bring something back out. Hey, check it out. We're doing this, the lime green re-release that like we only did this at the show like 20 years ago. It's the anniversary. And Berlin had a whole discography like a few years ago. And stuff like that is really, really cool to me, right? But the functionality of it, I don't have. And if I had like maybe the space to display, because it does look cool as like even as a display thing, that'd be something. But yeah, I would like to. Just not gonna happen, honestly. At least not for now. Haha, what a collection. Hey, homegrown kicks, what's going on? You could be that guy that uses headphones with his record player. So somebody, this was years ago, it was 2014? Had to have been 2014, yeah. So I had a coworker that was pretty big into sound, and I was like not deep into it like an audiophile, but I would buy nice earphones, nice headphones, and make sure like when I was ripping MP3s that they were encoded in a way that it would sound good and not take up too much space, right? I mean, it's still compressed, right? It's not lossless, but it's it is what it is. And so I remember he let me borrow, I can't remember the model, or it was a pair of Sony headphones, right? That were like supposed to be like really good. And that night I did go home and I I don't know what I played it on, but I had this Kylie Minogue album, which is she did a lot of reimaginings of her songs with an orchestra, right? The Abbey Road sessions, I think that's what it was called. And I listened to that whole thing front to back, right? Because it's a solid album. It's long though; it's like an hour, something like that. Just like laying there on the floor, like with these headphones on, and it sounded amazing. It really did. So yeah, I could very much be that guy that sits around with like a headset on listening to stuff because I like to listen to stuff. I mean, my last FM thing was telling me like you listen to a lot of music. Even like my Spotify thing, when they did like the year recap, you're like you're in the top like 1 or 3% in America. I'm like, it's a lot of music. And that's only Spotify, right? That doesn't even count for the iPod and stuff. But yeah, so I'm definitely like into the whole music thing. It's like the number one interest for me, like easily. Even another wrestling shirt collection gets a lot of talk once in a while, but the music shirt collection is no slouch either, right? I've been to a lot of shows, and that also says more about them because like I mostly only buy them at shows, like for the most part. Every so often I'll hop on merch now and order some Descendants shirt, but most of them I like went somewhere, so like they're like little memories. Let's see, what am I missing here? You could be, yeah. Let's see, yeah, hunting down vinyl is a whole different ball. Yeah, I mean it'd be worth it though, because like it's cool stuff. Did you do any of the Adidas confirmed Yeezy raffles? I did actually, because there was a pair of 350s and it looked decent. So as I said, I go for those and I figured, all right, this is the last one, so why not, right? And I did get through on that. I also, somewhat against my better judgment, put in for a pair of foam runners and I got through on that. I only put in for it because I was like, well, I did say that if I ever got a chance, I would try for a size 10 because I wanted to, so I could, finish the review, so to speak, because I did a review on a size 9. I was like, I don't know, size 10 might be the way to go. Might want to size up on these guys. So I put in for those. They looked god awful, and then I got word that I did get through on that. And then also not for me, but I did put in for someone else for a pair of Yeezy slides, and I got through on those. And so the crazy thing about this was that like all three of these, right? They all open in the beginning of the day or however that worked. I put in my little raffles. Actually, some of them opened earlier in the week, but either way, I put them all in. I'm thinking, okay, the way these have gone is like usually like they end and then like an hour or two later you hear about it. Yeah, it was like way later. And what was I doing? That was Thursday, right? Or was that Wednesday? Let's see, because they ended on the first. Well, I got a little words back. So the 31st was the Wednesday. Yeah, and I was busy watching Dynamite and stuff that day or something, you know. So I was like, man, these things haven't come through. Whatever, but whatever. And then they started to trickle in, right? And so I'm seeing these emails. I'm like, and the first one I saw, you know, it's all like order confirmed, big pop up from like from the confirmed application. I'm like, oh, maybe that's those 350s because I put in for those first. Maybe they'll let me know. And I click on it. It's like, you won the foam runners. And I'm like, I would win the foam runners. And so I'm like, all right, whatever, cool. I'll at least be able to know how the sizing is on those. Move on. Hours later, right? Deep in the middle of the night at this point. It's not even the 31st anymore. It's a whole new day. It's now the 1st of June. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'll hear something now. And I saw like, well, 1, 2 in the morning. It's like, hey, you were selected. Yay. And I'm like, oh, this must be those 350s. I click on it. The Yeezy slides. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what is going on here, right? The one thing I want to hear about, and you guys won't tell me. So then later that day, it was like 6 in the morning, and I see this thing pop up. And it's like, order confirmed, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this better be the thing. Like, I didn't put in on anything else. And I click on it, and there it is, carbon beluga, yay, right? At this point, I don't have the same excitement that I would have had if they had like told me like 12 hours ago. So I was just like, it's about dang time, you know? And it's like swiped it away and moved on. So those will be around at some point. Apparently, the former two shipped today. I thought they weren't going to ship for like weeks, is what they said. So those shipped this morning, not the 350s. So this whole thing is playing out exact opposite of how I would have liked it to play out. But I got the thing that I wanted. I'm not going to complain, but there's how it played out. So I know you didn't ask for all that. You asked a yes or no question. Too bad. All right, back to the things here. Oh yeah, it's a Super 7 shirt. I was doing a lot of Super 7 reviews today, so I wore a Super 7 shirt. Let's see, what am I missing? I did that for a pair of 350s and got through, but really wanted slides and didn't get them. Thus the way of confirmed, it seems. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like the Yeezy slides, I'm not going to say they're uncomfortable because they are comfortable, but they aren't my preferred go-to when it comes to slides, right? I I like the Adelaide 22s a fair amount, you know. I mean, I still wear like the Air Max 90 slides a lot too, you know. Those are probably like the main two that I wear. When I'm wearing Yeezy slides around here, like around the home or whatever, it's usually because they're just out and I'm like, oh, there's some slides. And I just like slip my feet in them and just go on about my day, right? But other things that I like, I just even my boost slides. I haven't worn those in forever. My cork slides, haven't worn those in forever. Can't remember the last time I had on a pair of Alpha Bounces, right? Who knows when that was? Even my standard Adalettes. Yeah, I got a lot of slides. I've done a lot of slide reviews. And now I've been pushing some of them off to my mom's house. So when I go down there, I have options. But yeah, it's the Yeezy slides. You don't seem worried about it, which is good. So, because I wouldn't be worried about it at all. And I think Adidas made a new form of slide recently that looks like it should be pretty nice. I can't speak on it though because I haven't tried it myself. At this point, it's like the whole buying shoes to talk about them and whatnot. It's like, space is an issue that needs to be dealt with, right? Which is part of the reason I've slowed down on buying things. That and they've slowed down on making things that I want, right? So it's kind of a twofold sort of deal. But pending anything else, right? Does anybody else have anything to say? Because otherwise, I'm gonna get going because this has been an hour, and I feel like that's as long as it needs to be. So I'm gonna assume not, because I'm not seeing anything popping up. I know I haven't given it the normal 15 seconds or so, but I'm watching this countdown over here. I got the camera here, but like all the stuff's on the TV screen because otherwise there's a glare, which is a problem when I'm doing action figure things. So really, since I was doing shoe things, there was no reason to do that, but it's common. So if it looks like I'm staring into the distance, that's why, because I am. Right, I'm selling shoes. Okay, hey, you gotta sell shoes if you need to, do what you gotta do. I get it. There's always gonna be something new that you want, so might as well have the room for it. But all right, I closed this all out like 20-ish minutes ago, so I'm not doing it again. But thanks for showing up, everybody. I super appreciate it. And hopefully we cross paths at some other point. Good night as well to you, Mr. Libertarian.